Cameras ready? All right, we're going to go ahead and get started.
Good morning. This week, along with First Assistant Ed McGowan and ADA Liz Strauss, I have been personally trying the murder case that took the life of Theodore Jones, aka Young Greatness. Late last night, a unanimous jury came back with a verdict of guilty as charged on all counts of one Donald Rowe. This defendant did not shoot the guns that took Teddy's life. He recruited a 15-year-old and his 19-year-old cousin to do it. He orchestrated this violent attack, he gave them a plan, and he drove them to the location. Now, this case is emblematic. This case is emblematic of the crisis that is plaguing the streets of New Orleans. Specifically, adults using this city's children to commit crimes for them. This is one of the first critical points that the Chief and I talked about when we first sat down. The Chief and I have been focusing on this in our strategy meetings, and we will continue to do so. And we are coordinating efforts like never before to target adults that are preying on young people to commit the worst, most horrendous acts in our city. And today I am heartened that we secured a conviction of Donald Rowe for the senseless murder of Young Greatness, and that he will be held accountable, whether he shot the gun or not, for his egregious actions. And to be clear, before anyone asks a question, the two young defendants are already serving significant time in jail, but last night we were able to get to the root, to the mastermind of this murder, and the Chief and I will continue to implement these new and non-traditional strategies to pursue, to arrest, and to convict every single person involved in violence in this city, with a specific focus on the roots of the violence, the planners, basically striking at the head of the snake. So to be clear, the unanimous jury found Rowe guilty as charged of second-degree murder, obstruction of justice, conspiracy to obstruct justice. Mr. Rowe is scheduled to be sentenced on February 8th, and he will receive a mandatory life sentence for these crimes. Young Greatness was a talented artist, a loving son, and he was poised to make a significant impact, not just on New Orleans, but across the globe. But unfortunately, due to greed and senseless violence, his life and his talent were stripped away way too soon. He continues to be absolutely missed by his family, who are with us today, Mama Rose and her Rosebuds, and a host of friends and fans. This conviction required a lot of teamwork, and it required a lot of collaborations across agencies. Of course, I'm grateful to Ned and Liz, who tried this case with me and worked it up. Additionally, extremely thankful to our victim witness advocates, Vicki Landry, who held this family up during a very long and hard process in which COVID made it even harder. Very thankful to the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, specifically Sergeant Stephanie Minto Gibson with the Crime Victims Reparations, and to my newest partner, who I'm very grateful to have, my chief, this city's chief, Michelle Woodford. She put in extraordinary work very, very quickly to make sure we had the pieces to make this trial successful. And I really want to thank all the other members of her team that worked on this case. This investigation was extremely thorough from beginning to end. But I really want to focus on the level of attention to detail on the back end to help us present this case to a jury. It was truly unprecedented. And like I said before, the Chief and I are looking at and focusing on new strategies to deal with this crime surge. And one of our first pillars one of our first conversations was dealing with adults preying on children. She's raising a young black male, I'm raising a young black male, teenagers in this city. So this is personal, and this is critical. And it's vitally important that we root out the causes that are pulling young people into these crimes. Chief, thank you for your attention to detail. Thank you for all of the time that you've given me already, weekends, early mornings and late nights, to work on out-of-the-box strategies to surge back. This was not easy, but we got it done. It's our prayer that this conviction of the ringleader of this particular crime can bring some level of closure to this unbelievably sad and tragic situation. But hear me, New Orleans. I know a lot of teenagers don't watch press conferences of old, bald men. But their mothers might be watching, or their aunts might be watching, or their fathers or uncles might be watching. If someone tries to encourage you to, as they said in this case, hit a lick, commit this crime for me because you won't face the same consequences. Number one, you will face those consequences. Number two, we're coming after you. If you use our children, you will pay dearly, just like Mr. Rowe, and spend the rest of your life in Angola in a pine box if you get a child to commit your crime. We're coming after you. With that, I'll pitch it to my chief, Chief Woodford.
Good morning. As District Attorney said that we discussed this, it was really important because we are raising 2 young black males in this city. And of course, we not only want to make it safe for our children, but we want to make it safe for all the children in New Orleans. It's very important. Their mothers, their fathers, their families, we don't want to see them have the same experience as this young lady did. We are in a great partnership. We have had several discussions. We understand what is going on in the city, and we are definitely going to be in lockstep looking for those people who are preying on our young people for them to commit these heinous crimes. This is an unprecedented case, and I'm just so glad at the outcome. You guys did a great job with the prosecution, and this is how we're going to work moving forward. This is how we're going to make sure those arrests that the NOPD makes into prosecution, into conviction. So for those, again, those of you out there who are preying on our children, we're not going to let you anymore. We're here to make sure you pay for those crimes also. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. This case, this trial was a case study in how to reduce and handle violent crime in this city. The Chief is being very humble, but this team of investigators, they utilize Ring doorbells, real-time camera center, camera footage, license plate readers to find the license plate of Mr. Rowe when he left that Waffle House after taking Miss Rose's son. With those license plate readers, we were able to use open source data to find out who the license plate was linked to and who that person was living with, right? He was driving his girlfriend's car that night, and Facebook was able to tell us that. That was good, smart, investigative work that was outside of the traditional way that things were done. So I just want you to know that this chief and her team are using every available legal resource to solve crime, but to help us get those convictions in court, and my team will be doing that same thing with her. I want to call up Ms. Rose, who is a woman of great strength, who raised a phenomenal young man who would have given those folks what they tried to steal from him. He gave so much of this community, gave computers to kids who needed them to learn, and literally would have given them anything they had asked for. But they used guns, and they used violence. Ms. Rose, this community needs to hear from you.
Good morning. First off, I've got to give God the thanks and the praise for getting me here. Because if it wasn't for him, none of this would have happened. None of this. But at the same time, I do need to thank Allie Kalinda, Jason Williams, Ned with the bow tie, and Liz the firecracker, and my advocate. You put up with me with all of that. I know I'm a lot. I know it's a lot, but thank you here. And thank you to Stephanie Minto. And thank you to my family. Come on, Mama. Come on, baby dog.
Grandma Greatness.
Come on,
Grandma greatness.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. A lot of times, my mama would say to me, stop that crying. Quit walking that floor. Many times you gonna mop the floor? Go to bed. What you say? You praying? Well, pray. Give it to God and leave it there. He gonna fix it in due time. You was right. You was right. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Shay. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Dacia. Where my name at? Thank you, Nanny. Listen, I need to get my point across to the parents of these young children. Please, y'all, get y'all children. Get your babies. Because that slow walk to that sad tune I had to take is not a walk y'all want to take. Get your children, y'all. Grab a hold of your children. Because all I have is memories and a tune. You don't want that. I'm so exhausted from going to Mount Olivet. I'm just worn out. I'm worn out. Y'all get y'all children. Get your children for them other people, them men and them grown men, get your children, and then you be sitting in the courthouse all night begging and pleading, don't lock my child up. Do your job and get y'all children. Y'all always want to complain and talk about the city, but it starts at home. It starts at home. Get your children. Make your children your habit. Love your children. In order to be a mama, you got to come out yourself. It ain't no longer about you. Get your children. No, everybody can't afford name brand, but you can keep your children clean, you could keep them safe, you could keep their stomach from touching their back, you could keep them warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Get your children. Get y'all children, because standing here, I don't feel good. I don't feel good standing here. Ain't nobody in a million years could have ever told me I'd be standing here at a press conference for my son. Come on, y'all. Y'all gotta do better. Y'all can't keep putting everything off on everybody else. You can't put it off on her. You can't put it off on him. Y'all carried them children 9 months. Get them before you be carrying them behind the tomb like me. I'm telling y'all, get y'all children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama Rose. That message that you just got from this phenomenal mother, I really hope it resonates. I really hope it resonates. It doesn't have to be, and we can handle it. The truth is, this city is in the middle of an unprecedented crime surge. Truth is, truancy is at an all-time high. Kids are not in school seats, which means they are in our city streets. And we have to clap back with zeal and proactively fight the violence in this city, but we've got to start before shots are fired, before the police are called. We've got to invest in a safety net for our most marginalized youth so that they have opportunities. Because once shots are fired, it's a very different situation once the chief and I are involved. We must engage in new tools and new strategies to end this crime surge, and please believe the chief and I are already doing that, and I look forward to that continued partnership. And with that, Kurt, if there are any questions.
We'll take on-topic questions. If you guys have any off-topic questions, we can circle on that after. So I heard from Natasha.
You said that the two young defendants are serving significant time in jail. Are they both, because no one's 15, are they both in the adult system?
They are in the adult system. They're in the adult system. One of the individuals will be sentenced by Judge Burris, who properly presided over these proceedings. He'll be coming back to be sentenced for his crimes. And the judge will make a determination based upon all the facts she heard. We were able to get these two young men to testify about who drove them there, who orchestrated this, and how it all planned out. They were at home. They were at a family home before this older cousin called them and said, "Come with me. I got something for you to do." But they're serving. They've already been serving significant time, and they will be serving significant time.
Yeah, so a lot of people are concerned about violent offenders getting out of jail on bail, bond. Can you talk a little bit about that? I know that's not necessarily coming from you, but can you speak on that?
I absolutely will. That actually was probably either the second or third thing the chief and I talked about when we were sitting down. Was that last Saturday? Yeah. Because, you know, when you just release someone right back out on a low bond, that's not only bad for the community, but it's also bad for that individual if they're in a cycle of recidivism and recommitting crime, whether it's car break-ins or whether it's violent crime or whether it's domestic violence. And so one of the things that when the chief and I were sort of issue spotting about that, the chief was like, look, we're getting into the details. And she has doubled down, really tripled down on report writing, making sure that information is documented with real specificity, as John Lewis used to say. Specificity matters because that is what the judges are going to be reading when they're setting bond. That is what the jury is going to be hearing when a case goes to trial. And so please believe that that is a real thorn in the side of the chief and I, and we're strategizing on every single way to make sure that bonds are higher or that there is no bond in certain situations where persons have proven themselves to recommit crime and do violent things in the city.
David, Mr. Rose, I wonder if you could speak about your son and his character and what kind of role he played in this community.
I didn't hear.
The question from David was if you could speak a little bit about your son and the role he played in this community. You should absolutely tell him about that story about his aunt driving that Uber and running into that student. But so many people. Young greatness was truly young greatness.
They don't even realize what they took. They didn't just take him from me and my family. They took him from the community. They took him from children, his children. They took him from other people's kids that he helped along the way. You know? You don't even realize what you did. You don't have a clue on what you did. You took somebody that would have gave you his shoes off his feet because he wasn't selfish. You didn't have that to do to a kind, loving soul. You understand what I'm saying? My boy was a sweet child, respectful. Nobody can come back and say that Teddy ever disrespect them. He wasn't raised like that. He wasn't raised like that. He loved. And see, when you love hides all faults, so you don't see no wrong. You don't see no wrong in people. You think everybody for you and la-da-da-da-da, you know? That's what you think. Let me say this to you. There was a group of little girls by my house. We used to call them the pickies because their hair wasn't never combed. But their shoes was always off their feet. And Teddy would always say, keep your shoes on your feet, I'm gonna give you $5. But there's one little girl, she couldn't seem to get the left from the right. She had them on, but they was on wrong. And she said to Teddy, mine's on. And he said, they on wrong. She said, but you said if I put them on, you could give me $5. Where $5 at? He gave them children $5 and he took them to CVS. Those children knock. Still today, they knock. They knock. And say, we just won't come by you, by Mr. Teddy Mama. I say, come on. You see? You don't even realize what you took. You don't realize what you took. What you took was something that could never be replaced. You can't replace me. You can't get them back. You understand? You took somebody that this community needed.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? To make the difference. You know, You took somebody that wasn't gonna go get your children and say, come on, let's go hit a lick. You took somebody that was gonna say, boy, come on, let's help you do your homework, you know? Come on, let me show you how to tie your shoe. Man, that ain't the way you do that. Come on, let me help you. You took valuable. You took what money can't buy. That's why I'm stressing the importance to these other mamas out here. Get your children. Because there's other people out there lurking, waiting like the devil to get your children and send them out there to do wrong. And then you're going to be crying. Get y'all babies. New Orleans it never was like this here. It's so bad, it make you don't even want to visit. That's how bad it is here. But it could be better if the parents just do their part. You know? It's not a whole lot. It's not a whole lot that a child needs. Only thing a child needs is time. Time. That's all they need. They don't need Balenciagas and Gucci's and all that. They just need time. My sister teach school, and she always tell me about this one little boy. And she said, Janine, I can't let him go. I got to help him. I said, well, help him. And if I could help you to help him, let me know. She said, I got to save him, Janine, because I see it in him. And she said to me, she said, you know, he told me that them people out there be wanting him to go pull on door handles. 11 years old, you teaching somebody, you want somebody, child 11 years old to go pull on somebody else's door handle. Because you figure if they do it, they're juvenile, they're going to walk in the front door and come out the back door. But you're not going to get the lick. The tide turned yesterday with my baby. It's over with for you. It's over with for you. So if you're out there and you're thinking that you're going to get these children to do their dirty work and it's nothing going to happen to you, you better think twice. Because it's coming. It's coming. And I hope you understand the assignment that God gave you.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you do.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Let me just say this, Curtis. I hope you heard what Mama Greatness said. I did. Get your kids before the lights and sirens do. Because then it's too late. Okay? Natasha?
I just wanted to ask, I know you personally tried this case, and can you talk about why you decided to personally try this case? And I know you've tried several others as well. Why are you trying this case?
You know, some people think leadership is telling people what to do. I believe leadership is showing people what to do and how to do it. This was an extremely difficult case because felony murder is a tough thing to prove to a jury. The man who's going to spend the rest of his life in jail for this crime didn't shoot the gun. You follow me? He was inside of the Waffle House watching what he put in place. And that's a difficult concept to argue to a jury. And so I'm not just going to send my ADAs out on the toughest cases when they're complex. I wanted to be there to work on strategy, to speak with this jury. And we're also utilizing things that we haven't utilized in the past. Just think about the technology and the advancements that we have now, that the tool that the chief is bringing to our disposal in trial. The real-time camera center, license plate readers, using open source data, Instagram, TikTok, whatever is being posted, we're looking at everything to prove this case. And it's a little difficult because you've got to lay a foundation to get that information introduced. And so I thought it was important to be with my team in the trenches to deliver this one and to frankly take this horrible case, right? To make it very clear to the people of New Orleans as we begin this new year as the murder capital of the world, to take Mama Greatness's charge, right? To see our children, to deal with our children when they are young, when they have not done anything wrong, so they don't find themselves in harm's way or being used or being coerced. And to make it clear to any adults who think it's a good idea to use children, that day's over. That door is closed. And we will send you up there with Donald Rowe. Spend the rest of your life.
Anything else? Any follow-up?
Hey, you mentioned car theft. We've seen 400 about in not even a month. Can you talk about that? Maybe what you guys are doing to try to stop that?
Absolutely, and I'll let the chief get in if she wants to comment in as well. A lot of people talk about car burglaries and car thefts in a vacuum. Just because there's no shots fired, there's no loss of life, they don't realize the connection to the violent crime in the city. These pulling in the car handles, they're not just looking at trying to get in a car for CDs or money. They're looking for guns. They're looking for guns that can be used in other crimes. They're trying to steal cars that can be used in future carjackings, right? We were doing a convening over the last, probably the last half of last year with the superintendent of schools, with the police department, with the sheriff, with Youth Empowerment Project and Son of a Saint, trying to figure out the root causes of the why. And Commander Dupree, one of the chief's top leaders, brought up the point that when he was working out in the East, they didn't see car break-ins at the car dealerships. So it's not just getting inside of a car, they're looking for tools to commit other crimes. So these crimes are committed, are part of the violence you're seeing in the city, and we are strategically attacking those things. The chief and I tried to look at a certain buckets of cases that we believe are attributing to violence, and so that we can strategically attack those and prioritize those using the real-time camera center, using Ring doorbell, using open source data, so that we can bring those things down. Chief, I don't know if you want to weigh in.
You mentioned the number of stolen vehicles, and it's at that level. We attribute it to the type of vehicles that are being stolen. Half of our stolen vehicles that were reported this year are Hyundais or Kias. Of course, everyone knows there was TikTok video or some social media video that instructs you on how to steal these cars. So of course, we're having a high volume of those cars, and I think that's what's driven our stolen automobiles, the numbers up really high.
Any closing?
I'll just say, heed Mama Rose's clarion call to all parents. Anyone who sees themselves as a parent, anyone who sees a kid going the wrong direction, do what you can before we have to get involved. Because 2023 is going to be very, very different from 2022.
Thank you.
Thank you.